Everyone. If you are with me live and have questions, you can drop them in the chat. If you have your sales page that you want me to audit for you here live after the training, you can drop that in the chat as well. I know more people are hopping on as we go, but I do want to get started on time. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, jump in, and we're going to talk this month about sales pages in 2026 because I'm seeing a lot of differences, a lot of changes, things that traditionally really worked and converted very well are not converting anymore. And some of them are even actively repelling those that we are trying to attract. And so I want to make sure that you have the most up-to-date information and know that as a Messaging Lab client, everything I'm going over today is coded into the private copywriter AI. So you will have the checklist in your client portal to kind of just cover everything that I'm going to go through today, but you don't have to worry about knowing how to actually build these sales pages. This is something that will be done for you in the copywriter AI, and then you'll submit it to me and I will revise it from there and get it published ready. So this is purely informational for you so that you kind of understand the shifts that the market is making and the reasons that I'm writing copy for you the way that I am, and just what to look for. So let me share my screen and let's go ahead and dive in. So high converting sales pages in 2026. And if you hop on or as I'm talking and if you have questions, again, just put them in the chat and I will get to them during the live Q&A after. So sales pages, there's things that have been changed and we're seeing throughout the marketing industry, but throughout worldwide and other industries. And I want to make sure that you have the most up-to-date information on the sales pages so that they can convert as high as possible, because we're diving into seeing what the marketing studies say, but also what I'm seeing with my clients and what the trends and the patterns that are emerging. So by the end of the call, the goal is that you have a clear structure that you can apply to your current sales page for now, any launches that you're in, any offers that you have available, or upcoming launches as well. So it's important to understand what's working and what's not for upcoming launches. Now, the average person sees about 100 marketing messages a day. And the reason that this is really important for me to share with you is because that means it's that much harder to get them on the sales page. The more messages they see, the harder it is to stand out and get them onto the sales page. And once they're there, they have about 3 seconds or less to answer one question. And it's the only question that matters in that moment. The question is, does this matter to me? And if your sales page doesn't answer that for them, they're gone. And the issue is, once they're gone, it's a lot harder to get them back onto that sales page. So it's really important that they self-select out or in, and that's what we're going to focus on today. So what stopped working in 2026? It's really interesting to me, and I'll try my best not to geek out over all of these things. But when you're like in it day in and day out and you see things shift, it's really interesting. So but what I want to share with you is that long form sales pages, for the sake of being long, they are not working anymore. There are elements you need, and then there are those that only create clutter. And because clutter gets in the way, that decreases conversion. So we're going to cover both of those. But interestingly, long form sales pages are converting at a lower rate. Text and static image pages only, which is interesting because we've had like this pendulum in the last like 14 years. We went from text and static to massive video to back to text and static, and we're like back into video now, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But 73% of people prefer watching short videos over reading the text to learn about your offer. And that's so important to note. Also, what's not working is a wall of testimonials towards the end of the page. This again used to be industry standard. You could probably pull up a lot of different sales pages right now and see this happening because they have not moved through with the time and the trends. But don't do it. Again, it was fairly standard practice. Now it's just wasted because people don't really make it to the end of the page, but they also, once it's a wall of something, it's just not being seen anymore. So they're really wasted at that point. This next one is such a huge one. I look at these every single day with clients, shifting away from this feature dumps and wildly inflated value stacking. This was a thing for a long time and it like worked. And so everybody did it and it worked for years. But it's like $26,000 worth of bonuses. It literally actively repels your people now. People just don't believe it. You've got to stop doing it. So if it's on your sales page like that, let's test something different. It's not working. Um, and then over-designed pages with too many elements. Really interesting. We'll get into what does too many elements mean. But basically, less than 10 design elements, again, which we'll talk about what qualifies as a design element, converts 2 times higher than pages with multiple, like 40 elements. And it's so important. I review this a lot, like how there's the feature or benefit stack and each one has a visual element on it. No more. It's not converting. So maybe more importantly, but certainly as importantly as what's not working is what is working. So what is working is recognition first openings. Lead with their experience, not your story and not your offer. So if you've done the iceberg method, then you understand more about recognition first copywriting. If you have done connect, then you understand a lot about recognition first copywriting. So those things are really important and we'll kind of go over it a little bit, but as a messaging lab client, it's probably lingo that you're familiar with. Remember that in those first 3 seconds or less, they have to know this matters to them. The best way to get them to know quickly is they recognize themselves in it. If you recognize yourself in something, you know that this matters and you want to learn more. So easiest way. Simpler pages with fewer elements. Again, we want to minimize the distractions. And when we do, we convert at a much higher level at this point, a higher rate. Social proof woven throughout, like we talked about, and I'll share strategically where to place these. One place that I'll share with you in a moment is really important, and I bet you if I pulled up 5, like when I go over your sales pages during the Q&A, I bet maybe one of you might have these testimonials where they are, but most of the time it's missed and it's not your fault at all, but it's just a place that you wouldn't normally think to put them. And get this, when you do have testimonials strategically placed there, it increases sales by an average of 24%. And again, it's the biggest place I see entrepreneurs missing when I audit their sales page. So we're going to go over all of that in the training. The distinct brand voice and tone. And as a messaging lab client, you know how important this is. If you're a yearly client, I have written or am in the process of writing your voice and tone DNA, your messaging guide. And this is huge. You've got to be distinct in getting them to your sales page, but also on your sales page. And then direct copy about pricing earlier in the page. Don't make them hunt for it or click through to another page. Transparency really builds trust. For example, I was doing an audit, a sales page audit for a slow funnel. So it's a self-liquidating offer, SLO funnel. And it was not converting at all. And they were like, what is going on? Why isn't this converting? Sent me the sales page. And immediately I knew that the biggest problem they had is that their content is usually free. Like they give a lot of free resources. And for this one, they were sending people to this page for this self-liquidating offer. So it's a small amount. I think it was maybe $17, something like that. Um, but the page didn't have the cost to it. It just had the copy, and then you clicked through and it brought you to checkout for the amount. And people fell off every time right there. Page was clicking through, checkout was abandoned. The reason is they buried the price and they didn't really, I'm sure that they didn't mean to do it, but they did it. As soon as we changed that, boom, conversion started again. So you've got to say the price up front, and it's that much more important if your audience is used to getting things free, freebies from you. Conversion tanks when you bury the price in any way, and we'll go over more of that as well. For years, the standard has been eighth grade reading level, which again just fascinates me because it was a little bit higher. They're like 10th grade sometimes, depending on when I would write for people in the wellness and medical field, there were, eighth grade was a little bit low depending on what we were doing. Anyways, it's now fifth to seventh grade converts higher and converts like doubles your conversion just by making sure that your copy is clear, is distraction free, isn't all over the place, and that it's really simple to consume. So now that the reading level is a standard between fifth and seventh grade, it's really tough to write that way. The trick is when you nail it, conversion rates can double, which is incredible. And so, again, as a Messaging Lab client, you have me to guide that and help with that. If you are wondering what level any of your content or copy is at the moment, you can go to readable, readable.com and put in, copy paste your content, and it will tell you exactly what reading level it is. So that is really powerful to know and a good indicator of where you're at and what needs to change. The other thing is page speed. This is huge. And I, again, see this regularly and check this regularly with clients with sales page audits. People want it fast. They're not waiting for load times. So make sure that speed, excuse me, make sure the speed load time is like 1 second, which is very, very hard to do. But the good news is fewer elements can help it be faster, and fewer elements also convert. So it may be that fewer elements help with it being less cluttered, which helps conversion, but it may also be that in addition, it helps the page speed, which also helps conversion. So increasing um, increasing conversions by 2.5%, 2.5 times or higher just by having a 1 second load time instead of a 5 second load time. Now, again, it really is hard to do. So the goal, I would say, is to have it under 3 seconds. Be sure it's under 3 seconds, but you can check that. I like using Google Page Insights, and that is pagespeed.web.dev /. But if you just look up in Google Page Insights, you can put your URL in and see what that mobile and desktop both load time is. So those are just like the basics. What are we seeing that's different, and what to improve, what to stop doing, so on. How do we actually build that recognition for a sales page? Um, there's a few things that I'm going to share, and I want to share it from the top to the bottom. So don't worry about taking notes. Again, as you're listening and as you're watching, you can throw in the chat any questions that you have and we'll go over it. But also know that inside the messaging lab, the private copywriter AI is coded for this. So it's coded for the highest possible conversion rate, for recognition based copy, so you are connecting and converting, and you don't have to worry about like every single thing. You'll also inside the portal, the client portal, have a checklist that I'll upload with this video for replays. And that checklist is just a reminder of everything that we're going through today. So don't fast and furiously make notes, just kind of make that mental note, because between the AI, myself, and the checklist, this is handled for you uh, inside the messaging lab. So the hero section copy is the above the fold. And in those 3 seconds or less, the first most important question is, does this matter to me? Because if you don't get them to automatically know that it matters to them in that moment, they don't go any further. So it really doesn't matter. So the queen of questions is, does this matter to me? That is your headline. Okay, so recognition based, they have to see themselves in the headline. Then the subheadline is, what is this? And the answer to that is your offer. And then you have the CTA, and the CTA is, what action should I take? And that CTA will cover in a little bit more in depth, but that is clear, it's simple, it's written in first person. And what's surprising is that we're back to the world of VSL. VSL optimized funnels are now increasing conversions like at a really, really big rate. So 8.2% conversion to cold versus a 1.9% for text only above the fold. So VSL, VSL, VSL. And again, your private copywriter AI has the VSL formula in there that I write for clients. And so it will create that script for you. And then you'll send it over to me and I'll polish it to make sure that you it's super easy for you to record, because it just flows and sounds like you. But what I want to really emphasize here is the sales pages converting at the highest rate have those three elements, answering the three questions within the headline, subheadline, and CTA, and have the VSL. Now, 73% of people prefer to watch that short video over reading the text to learn about the offer. And we talked about that earlier. So if you needed more of a push to get yourself on camera and do the VSL, let that be the number that you remember. Pages with video see almost triple the time on the pages. So an average person with video on the page stays 2 minutes, 24 seconds. And that includes a 34% lower bounce rate. So it's like, I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you, but it's just to really show you that it's not just what I'm seeing. It's like the marketing industry is showing this as well and doing studies to prove this as well. And it's really, really fascinating. And making these tweaks onto your sales page doubles conversion, 2.6 times more, 34% lower bounce rate. You remember how I talked about how difficult it is to get somebody onto the page? Well, don't let them bounce. So you want over a third of them to stay longer. And 2 minutes and 24 seconds, that's a long time on a page. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it really is statistically. 78% of surveyed consumers say video with real people increase trust in the brand over other content formats. So get your face on that video, not AI, not a voiceover. Like, talk to them, share the information with them. And again, remember, this isn't something that you need to, like, you're like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna, I'm gonna ramble. What's the script say? All of that is coded into the private copywriter AI, and then you send it to me in the messaging lab. and I will polish it and have it ready for you. So the next element is trust factors. And this is from above the fold all the way throughout, but we're going to talk about this as the next element because they have to trust you and they have to trust you fast. So in 2026, what's the best way to do that? Optimizing your social proof. And there have been some interesting changes as to what that optimization really means. So social proof is ideal. Social proof on the sales pages changes, like the what we do ideally on a page changes depending on a couple things, and one of those is price. So we're going to start with the price point of it. So let's go through the best practices first, and then I'll go through like the format, and then I'll go through and where you put them on the page. So if your offer is under $500, text testimonials still build trust and they convert really well. And it doesn't mean that you need a whole bunch of them. We're talking like 3 to 5. I would say, aim for 5 because you want them in a couple different strategic places. But it will be just text is totally fine. If your offer is between 500 and 2000, video is the best format for conversion. And more than 5 testimonials convert higher than less than 5. So more than 5 and include video testimonials if your sales page offer is between 500 and 2000. For offers over 2000, a bulk amount of testimonials converts the best, but it's important. It's not a wall of testimonials. These are throughout the page. And the really interesting part is that the video testimonials near the checkout is critical. And we're going to go over that next, but that is really important and is missed like nearly every single time. If your offer is over 5,000 on a sales page, the best format is detailed case studies. You do need testimonials as well, but you also need those detailed case studies where the other price points, we're not seeing a difference in conversion. Remember that the higher ticket feels like higher risk to your buyers. So more proof, more trust is required, and testimonials on the sales page increases that trust and therefore increases conversions when done right by about 34%. But again, it's only in those right formats placed strategically on the page. So what is strategic placement on the page in 2026? It is 2 to 3 above the fold or near the hero CTA. That starts building the trust right away. Then weave them throughout and make sure that after each benefit section, so basically, essentially, it's every time you claim something, back it up with somebody who has experienced that. So benefits, features, whatever it is, you're backing it up with people that have experienced it. And add 1 to 3 near the checkout. Again, this is one of the most often missed places. But by doing this, like it's tiny, it's simple, it's just a little tweak, you could increase your revenue, your sales itself by 24%. So as you're doing this, think about what is their experience. They're moving through, they see a benefit, they're like, do I trust this person? Do I not? Wait, this person says that benefit got them this result. Okay, good. And then they continue scrolling and they get to the checkout and they're like, oh, this is an investment. Should I do this? And they see video testimonials from clients who say, this was the best decision I ever made. I'm so happy I made this decision. This is the result that I got. It removes that last little bit of doubt for them. So think of it from their mind and place those strategically on the page. And remember, again, don't put your testimonials in one section at the bottom of the page. It stopped working completely in 2026. It is not something that I'm doing going forward with clients at all. Now, the 3 stories your page needs. Everyone loves to talk about storytelling. It's not as simple as the hero's journey. Um, Storytelling in itself is consumptive. So if you are telling your story and they are not uh, converting, it is because you're telling it in a consumptive way, which may result in them following you, engaging, uh, really having a moment with you. And that's fantastic. Storytelling is really powerful, but that is one of three of the stories that you must have on your page to convert. So, what are those stories? Story one is their story, the recognition section. Instead of focusing on their pain and the relief of pain, it's recognition first. Sharing what they've tried that hasn't worked and validating the reality of that frustration is a really powerful point of recognition. So you've got to have them see themselves in their current struggle, in what you're talking about, and you validate that frustration and you move them through. The next story is your story, and this is the one that gets the most attention, and it's just as important as the others, but it is not any more important than the others. So, your story is the storytelling section. After they recognize themselves in their own story within your messaging, then you can share yours to show them you understand their struggle, that you understand because you've either been there, you've helped others through it, you've experienced it in some way, and they trust that because you're naming that pain that you went through while you were figuring out the solutions, and the struggle then becomes your credibility. So you've had that struggle, you understand it, and you share your better way moment. Now, this is what you discovered. It's how things changed. It does not have to be a one size fits all, but it is some sort of a breakthrough. So if you're in wellness and you don't believe in a one size fits all, we're all different bodies, we all have different stories. It's the same thing as me working with you with your copy. I don't give you a template and say this is going to work no matter what. I say these are elements, and within those elements, we work together towards it. But I got there through A, B, C, and D, and this was the better way. There is a better way moment, right? Um, the third story is transformation story, and this is focused on trust. It's a trust section, so it's where they were, but it's where they were plus what they did, plus where they are now. So it's really important that you have all of those elements within the transformation. And sometimes our social proof is the transformation story, and that's beautiful. Sometimes there's snippets of testimonials or things that don't have every element of where they were, what they did, where they are now. But you want to make sure that you provide all those elements. So maybe it is in different content forms like VSLs, like case studies, and it's not just the exact quote written text of a testimonial. The important thing is understanding that that transformation story is fully a 3 point story, and that you want to make sure that those hit every point. Also, it's interesting to note video testimonials currently are the most powerful. They And inside those video testimonials, those showing like real life sitting there in talking in, a living room or something like that, uh instead of an office or a studio, have um have marked 41% higher trust scores. So those studies that have been done show that the video testimonials that are really real people sitting in their real life, sharing their real experiences, have increased trust by 41% over those that are like in a studio or, seem much more higher edited. Anytime you can show transformation instead of opinion or just praise, it's most powerful. So I don't say don't use those. I've got hundreds of testimonials that are like, wow, this is so amazing, or working with Rachel is incredible. And I love those. Like it fills my heart. And I just hold on to every single one of those. But for somebody who's trying to decide, should I work with Rachel? Should I work with the messaging lab? Uh, those testimonials, prioritize the testimonials that say, like, from what Rachel taught, my conversions went up 8 times on this particular offer. The full result is important as opposed to just the praise or validation. The next section is the invitation, and this is where we get into the offer. So you've built recognition. Um, it's important to note that recognition is in every single section. So we're not going to go like, oh, I did recognition there. I don't have to here. Recognition is the most powerful, and we start with it in every section. Um, However, we've gone through recognition, we've gone through trust, and it is time now for them to take action, to take a step. The invitation section includes the offer, the guarantee, and objection handling. And we're going to walk through each one of those. So the offer section, what they get, it's not just what's included. And I hope that that has been clear throughout. But if not, benefit and feature stacks, value stack offers, those are not converting. It is what they get out of it. It is the transformation. It is the journey. It is the solution, not just what's included in it. Again, you know, if you need like a little mantra, let's call it, to remember, you could say something like benefits tell, outcomes sell, right? Same with features, if that is more of your offer. Features tell, outcomes sell. So they do need to know some elements of the offer, but they need to know the outcome. So focus on positioning this as an investment, but position it as an investment against the cost of not solving that problem. So what does it cost to stay where they are right now? Whether that is stuck, whether that is undervalued, whatever it is, that's the friction itself is the comparison point for you. And lastly, like we talked about before, you've got to be direct about pricing. Pages that hide pricing until the end feel inauthentic. They don't feel transparent. They are not converting well. Don't do it. Okay, the guarantee, risk reversal. This is another one where I see a lot of language that repels instead of attracts. So we want to avoid that. Risk reversal builds trust, shows you believe in the offer. Um, in order to do that, you need to be clear and confident about what this guarantee is. Don't be vague, and do not explain it like it feels like a loophole. Like I see a lot in high ticket right now, and let's just be really honest and not judgy at all, but really honest about what's out there in the industry right now. And there is a lot of language in the guarantees that are loopholes, like you will, let's say it's a $10,000 investment. You will make back your $10,000. I guarantee it, or we'll work with you until you do. That's a loophole. That's you pay me, and if I don't get you what I'm promising, you can continue to work with me, although what I am doing is not getting you what I'm promising. Do you understand? Like I don't like those. I don't write those. I don't agree with those. And it may come from a completely like a real place of there are a lot of reasons why maybe you don't get your money back, and it may have nothing to do with the offer itself. It may have there may be other issues. If that is the case, do not write a guarantee that guarantees an outcome. Okay, so you need to stand by the guarantee in however it's written without loopholes. Um, and if you add a guarantee, it should feel generous, um, not like you're kind of hoping that they don't use it. It should feel like generous. Now, with my clients, my private clients, with clients in general, I don't have a guarantee. I don't guarantee anything about the copy, except that the offer will be exactly as I say. I will write A, B, and C for you. I will come with this amount of knowledge. I will move, all of these things are my guarantee. My guarantee to you is what I will provide. Um, from there, there's a whole host of different elements as to what might convert better than others. And my guarantee is I'll walk you through it until we get to the highest conversion possible. That's different for everyone. It's different for every niche. It's different for every offer. So be really, really transparent and real in your guarantee. Okay, we are nearing the end. Hang with me for I'll try to get it done in like 5 minutes. Um, Finally, let's look at recognition first, objection handling, because this is really powerful. Um, Objections are not problems. They are moments to connect, and they're they are opportunities to I'm seeing that I'm using my hands constantly. My 6-year-old gave me a little heart star smiley face hand tattoo, so I apologize if that is distracting, but um yes. So anyways, objections are not problems. They're moments to connect and moments to make sure that they know that they are in the right place and that we're honoring those objections, that we hear them, and that we understand them. Now, there are a lot of ways that people are repelling instead of attracting because of the way that they do their objection handling. And it's so important to get this right, because if somebody has gone all the way down to objection handling on your sales page, they want this so bad, but something is holding them back. And you have that moment to help them through to take action, or lose them and maybe lose them forever. So, this is really important. Every objection they have, regardless of what they say that it is rooted in fear. It could be fear of making the wrong choice. It could be fear of wasting money. It could be fear of being taken advantage of, which is a really big one in today's industry. Do not do what a lot of marketing does, which is argue for your offer and against their objection. Do not do that. Recognition first, objection handling validates the shift. It, remember, so let's just think of it like this. So remember that you have just invited them into this offer. To accept an invitation from anybody, you have to know that it's for you. That was in our 3 seconds. Trust the invitation that came right after and take action. And your goal in objection handling is to make those elements really, really smooth and easy for them. And one of the most powerful ways that we're seeing that done right now is through FAQs. So, a recognition first FAQ stack. Here are 2026 best practices. And let me just say, best practices means that right now the conversion rates are up by about 12% when you get your FAQs right. So, it can be really impactful. I recommend 5 to 7 questions. If you have more than 10, it's really overwhelming and it feels like, wait, why are these frequently asked questions? Like, is this so confusing that people are asking a whole bunch of questions? Don't don't do that. Not more than 10. And if it's less than like 5, it just kind of feels incomplete. Like if you have 3 FAQs, it's kind of like they don't really know their customer enough to know the things that they are asking frequently. Where do you get them? Source them from DMs, from discovery calls, from emails. a like general rule of thumb is if you're getting the same question more than like 3 times in a month, there's a couple things. One is maybe it is confusion in your messaging or something that you can fix and that question is resolved. Or maybe it's something that goes in your FAQs and it's just something about your uh, potential customer, your buyer, and what they have in that internal dialogue that they have going on. Um, that should go in your FAQs. Remember that unanswered questions, and when I say unanswered questions, that means that you haven't built recognition and trust through your answers, giving them a perfect out to leave at that point. So don't do that. Don't give them that perfect out and that reason. Unanswered questions are the biggest reason that conversion tanks at this point in the sales page. Um, Consider adding who this isn't for. Now, we used to add that in the sales page itself. Now we're seeing higher conversion rates within the FAQs. So instead of having a section, again, we want simplified sales pages of like, who is this for? Who is this not for? Our messaging helps them self-select in or out. And in the FAQs, we can call it out directly. Who is this? Who is this not for? Um, and that may seem counterintuitive at that point, but really naming who should walk away from this does build trust with people who should stay. I do this all the time on discovery calls. If you've been on a call with me and you're in a messaging lab client because you've been on a call, you know that I have walked through the 3 different elements of working one-on-one with me, a retainer client, project client, messaging lab client, and helped through like this is not something that I think is for you. I would not recommend this at this point. I would recommend this instead because that will help you. That builds trust and it creates just a better working environment. You want people in the right seats on the bus, right? The right bus. um Remember, these FAQs are your opportunity to create that connection, that trust, and to move them into action. It is not informational and it is not argumentative. Do not use them in that way. All right, we're going to go rapid fire now. We're going to go through the structure that converts in 2026. And again, remember, one, as a messaging lab client, you have this built-in coded into the copywriter AI. So once you have a new project and you put in your messaging voice and tone guide, and you say, write a sales page for me, all these elements are going to already be there. You also have the download in the in the client portal of the messaging lab once this gets uploaded. So again, rapid fire, but don't worry about it. Hero section above the fold. You've got 3 seconds to answer 3 questions. Does this matter to me? What is this? What do I do next? And include a VSL. Trust sections include social proof throughout. Text testimonials work great for offers under 500. Video testimonials near the checkout for offers over 2,000. Case studies, detailed case studies for offers over 5,000. Next are the story sections. You've got 3 stories. You need all 3 found in the sales page. You need the recognition story, which is their story. You need your story or your brand story. That's the trust element. And you need the transformation story, which is the proof. Finally, we have the invitation section, and that includes the offer, the guarantee, the FAQs, and the final CTA. And that's it. That's the full structure. Recognition to trust to story to invitation, always. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. That's the structure of the recognition first framework. And we're going to look at your sales pages now. I am going to cut this for viewing. So those that are with me live will go over your questions, your sales pages, your review. We'll go through audits live. those that are watching this in replay, this is goodbye at this point. You can, underneath the video, click the link to get your checkout, and you can always reach out to me with any questions from this training. But I hope that it was impactful and helpful, and you could so easily increase your sales page conversions. I mean, with just taking like one element of this, you could increase it, double it. With taking an element out of each section, you could easily 8x your conversions right now. So go do that.